Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first bonus episode of Independent Thought. It is a new day, a new year. It is 2021. All of our fingers are crossed to hope that this will be a better year than last year. So I am starting off the new year with some bonus content. I'm not going to be able to put these out every single week, but when a guest and I are able to kind of continue the conversation after an episode ends and it might be something worth hearing, I figure I'll throw it out there. I'm not sure if everyone's going to like it or not. Maybe it's just a bunch of stuff no one wants to listen to, but I figure for those who might want some behind the scenes stuff, I'll just throw it out there and see how everyone feels. Tell me how you feel about the bonus content. After this little clip is over, go to Instagram or Twitter, send me a DM, tell me what you think. So until the next time I see everyone, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you to everyone who has rated the podcast on Apple iTunes. I appreciate all of you. My next episode should come out in a few days. Stay tuned.
Hey, Indie Thought listeners. Has this past year helped you rediscover your creative and crafty side? Well, then you're going to love our sponsor for today's episode. Bathing Beauty's Beads is a full-service bead shop in the heart of downtown Missoula. Whether it's seed beads, semi-precious stones, vintage beads, or just materials to make a project, they have something for every person and every price range. Not from Missoula? Don't worry. They have an extensive online store and they will ship directly to you. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, they'll welcome you and help you make your next project a reality. You can find them online at Bathing Beauty's Beads on Instagram and Facebook or at bathingbeautiesbeads.com. And don't forget to use offer code INDEPENDENTTHOUGHT at checkout to save 15% on your order.
That's it.
That was awesome, man. I hope I made sense, man, because I have a tendency to kind of just speak without leaning out what I'm saying.
Oh, no, man, you did great. Honestly, I hate being in the host chair. Like when I come on somebody else's podcast, I feel like free. Like I can just talk. But for whatever reason, like when I'm like in the host seat and I'm trying to like make the conversation kind of like a quote unquote like flow, I guess you would say, I tense the fuck up. And it's something that I've been trying to get better about, but I haven't quite like just like relaxed yet.
You know what's funny about that? It's when you don't try to do that is when it flows in the most natural manner.
I actually had someone say that basically the exact same thing to me. What was it? Just like maybe like 2 days ago. And it's one of those like real obvious, just like pieces of advice, but for whatever reason, like it was just something that like just wasn't like entering my brain. You know what I mean? And so like, yeah. And so like I am like actively going to be working on that because like you're the first person that I've like done like an episode with like in a couple of months now. And I have like, I think I have like 8 lined up in the next 2 weeks. So hopefully by the time these next 2 weeks are over, I'll be shaking that shit off a little bit more. But I just feel like it's probably just one of those things that's just going to take some time. I just got to be patient with myself because I got just like weird, like I guess you can call it anxiety, but like it's just
before this you do solo episodes, right? You haven't really done guest episodes?
I mean, well, I had a few guest episodes in the beginning, but they were like with like my like best, like one of my best friends, you know what I'm saying? So like
that's way easier.
Yeah, so it's like and he's more knowledgeable about politics than I am. So I mean like it was just simple to have him on because I could just let him talk, you know what I mean?
Right.
And we talk so much that like the natural like because when you talk to somebody a lot, you kind of like like how they like interact with you. So like when they pause, like when you can pick up, and they know when you pause, when they can pick up, and like you don't have to like feel that shit out as much. So like
and that's the game that we're in though, because a lot of these conversations end up being 1 or 2 time conversations, and
right.
I think you at some point you'll figure out that it's people are a lot more forgiving, and it's what you're saying in the sound bites that really like resonates because a lot of people are doing stuff when they're listening, and the pauses actually act as a good way for them to kind of detach from what they're doing and then re-engage with the experience.
And then focus in, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I also yeah, I think that like just being in my head too much has definitely gotten the best of me, but something that like I think moving forward, I gotta do a better job at of like just kind of like just like breaking out of that. And so that's something I'm going to be chopping away at, going forward because I feel like the product will just get better like the more
Mm.
like calm and relaxed that I am. Because I feel like just this conversation we just had now, just in the last like 5 minutes, this feels better to me than like what I was doing before. Because like now I
Bro, I
don't
was
feel as all
literally
tense
thinking
and
the
shit.
exact same thing that I was like at this very moment thinking the exact same thing that how do I convey to you that this is the best way to do it? So like how we're doing it right now is like you just start recording and have the conversation in this exact manner. But here's what I figured out about the being in your head thing because I struggled with that for a very long time.
Yeah.
Over like I could literally be speaking and overthinking at the same time, and then that
Mm-hmm.
affects the speech because then you take pauses at incorrect sort of moments. Um, that aren't natural cues in the human sort of language experience or whatever. But how I got over that is by not judging myself too much and just honestly not caring how it comes across. I know that sounds weird because we put stuff out in audio form for other people,
Right.
but caring about what I'm trying to say, like the intent becomes bigger than the delivery. And when the intent is bigger than the delivery and people can recognize it, they're more forgiving of the delivery.
Yeah, I mean, I- it's all stuff that like it totally makes sense. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
at no point, have I thought to myself like, everyone cares about every little thing that I care about. It's just like for whatever reason, like I've been having a hard time just detaching. I guess like because like when I'm like doing an episode, I'm always like looking down at like a bullet point of topics, right? So I got like, like when we talked before, I was like, I wrote down a bunch of things I want to talk to you about, right? And so
Mhm.
like while you're talking, I'm over here like, okay, we got to go to this topic next, and go to this topic next, go to this topic next, and I think that that's just not really helping. I mean, it almost feels like it's making it worse because I feel like I'm on like a schedule now, like oh, I have to talk about these things now, and I
Yeah,
feel like it just like locks me up. So
million
yeah,
percent.
definitely something that I feel like I might need to think about differently the next time around. But hey, I would love to get you back on in the future because especially since I'm thinking that like probably by the next time I have you back on, that I'll be a little more practiced, so I can probably have like a better episode.
No, this is
And
great, man. I think you're doing a great job, and you're definitely smart enough to recognize some of the things that could require work. And that's amazing, man. I wouldn't overthink it too much. I think
yeah,
we can definitely do this anytime. And yeah, I genuinely appreciate you reaching out and having me on, man. And we'll do one for mine too. We'll figure that out on the calendar and in the DMs.
yeah, I'll have to practice a little bit for yours because when I'm the guest, I have a tendency to talk too much, and I know that your episodes are kind of short, so I'll have to try to keep it nice and short for you.
No, it's all good. I mean, I enjoy like open conversations where people aren't like thinking too much about how they're saying it and just saying things freely because that's
Right.
what I do. That's why I cut episodes short. And sometimes, when the episode starts playing, there's not an introduction. It's like you're tuning in mid conversation because I felt that that was the most valuable part. And it's almost a new category of content in a way. I feel like just giving people the ability to tune in mid conversation right for the meat, not the sides, not the intro, not the fluff. They just get the meat of the equation, and then the fluff and the sides and stuff, which is a normal part of human interaction, is left for the actual experience that occurred, not for the people tuning in. So
I love it.
I don't want to say how,
I love it.
that's just my kind of strategy. Obviously there's better ways to do things, but yeah.
No, no, I love it. Honestly, for me, I mean, it's weird because sometimes I feel like I have like an ADD brain, and then there's other times where I feel like I want all the content. So there's times where like, like episodes like yours are perfect for me because like I don't want to sit through like a 40-minute conversation. So like a nice like 10, 15, 20-minute conversation, I'm like, that's money. Like give me that all day. And then there's other times where I'm just like, you know what, maybe I want to listen to a 2-hour conversation, and so
Oh,
I'll throw
100%.
on like a Joe Rogan or like, just me being in like the nerd sphere. Like, I love listening to like, Star Wars and Marvel type shit. So I'll listen
Hell
to
yeah.
a Kevin Smith podcast because they'll be talking about all the nerd shit. And so like I'll put that on for 2 hours. So like it's a day-to-day thing for me. So but yeah, I don't think that there's really like one like there's one way to do it. I feel like, like both definitely have value. But yeah, I definitely do appreciate shorter episodes sometimes. I've been trying not to like have like a standard time limit to mine either, but yeah,
Yeah.
I try to like keep them, I guess you would say, from like feeling like they have to be a certain length. You know what I mean?
Here's how I view that. And I think you're still recording, so this could be of value if you want to use this as content or something. But the short thing is only because I recognize like that comes from self awareness. I recognize I'm 23 and there's no advice that I can give to other people. All I can do is share my perspective. And
Right.
when I keep it short, it's like I have respect for your time and your retention. And when people recognize that, there's no BS or the whole theme or the vision is to minimize the BS, they give you that retention and time, and then it becomes better. But to your point, I also see, I also throw on the Joe Rogan Experience when I'm winding down or getting ready to go to sleep. I'll throw something like that on while I'm focusing on other things, and it serves as like it serves as a passive way to tune in, and that they're both the same thing in the sense of what you're getting as a human from these conversations. It's just one's playing longer, but you're passively tuning into the parts that get your attention, and one is solely designed to maximize that attention. So it's like it's kind of like that.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. I mean, yeah, I know for me that like there are yeah, I have like different like forms of like media that I put on for different moods that I'm in. And
Yep.
so like there's just like certain times where I'm like I'm in this mood and I'll want this, I'm in that mood and I'll want that. And so nah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think it's cool that you said that you're like, like you're respectful of people's like, attention and like and retention. Because there is a lot of people who just do not have, like long attention spans anymore.
Yeah, it's a delusion to think that putting out a 50 or 2 hour episode or a 50-minute or 2 hour episode is gonna get the same response, especially when you're just starting out or when you're on your journey or on your way to doing something. Everyone will reach a point at some point in their lives where people are going to demand more. They're going to want to be more deeply embedded in the ecosystem of content that you create. And at that point, you can make that decision to, give them a 1 hour episode every week or something like that. But small episodes, high volume is the way to go when you're just starting something or coming up. It allows you to, because look, in conversations we have the BS, right? Like I mentioned before. But then the cool parts that you wish other people could hear, if you just directly only let them hear those cool parts, that's the game. Then they're gonna want more. Then they're gonna get invested, and then they're gonna want to hear you do anything. You could sit and sing for an hour, and they're gonna want to tune in because they're invested in the person and not the content. So you have to win them over through high quality, high retention content, and then they get invested in the person, and then they'll watch you or hear you do anything.
So I'm going to spare every human being the sound of my voice. But I know what you're saying though. But yeah, no, actually, that's something that I'm trying to like kind of like break the mold with a little bit. I mean, I I was actually it was kind of along the lines we were talking about earlier about like like when I was talking about the YouTube thing where I was just like, oh, just get something out, just go throw something out there. Like I feel like eventually I would love to just get to a point where the podcast, even just in general, was just like me being able to react to anything.